Is clay still worth learning and mastering in 2025, 2026? That's the question I get quite often on LinkedIn when someone sends me a private message. And today I would really love to break it down for you and help you understand who needs clay, what are the biggest bottlenecks, what are predictions for the next year, and how you can get started if you decide to hop on this journey. My name is Filip. I'm head of GTM at the company called GTM Excellence, and we help B2B companies generate pipelines and build GTM workflows using clay and other tools. I myself have enriched millions of roles, and I want just to share my 5 cents on this topic. So let's get started. First of all, I wanted to discuss some of the most important challenges for clay users in this year, and probably it won't even change in 2026. The very first one is steep learning curve. Clay has kind of similar, I would say not similar, but simple interface, which is similar to Excel, right? So it looks like Excel sheet, but it has a lot of different buttons, a lot of different options, and you never know what you kind of have to click and what you have to use to succeed and get the end result you are looking for. And it's been really hard to understand what sort of enrichments you need, how you can use AI agents, how do you create API calls, how do you spend less credit. So anyone who tells you that you can master this tool within 2 weeks is probably lying, or they have a very unique use case when the person has been already using some sort of tools and other instruments before, and now they just transition to clay and it didn't take them that much time to get used to it. But for every new person who is entering this GTM space, I would say a couple of months, like 3, 4, 5, 6 months is enough to get to a decent level, get the basics, and start building some really advanced use cases. Of course, the next thing is data provider complexity. There are 100 plus different data providers and API keys you can use. It gives you more freedom, but also confusion. As I've told you, it's kind of difficult. It's hard to understand what sort of tools, tool stack, enrichment stack you need for your specific use case. Hence, again, it's just a paralysis of analysis. You get so many options. It's really hard to choose the best ones. And the last thing is rapid feature evolution. Clay is a growing company. A lot of people, a lot of VCs are investing into clay. Hence, they are forced to develop their product and add new features every single quarter. From my point of view, it is both good and bad because they test a lot of stuff. Some features stick around for a long time. Some of them do not, and they remove it, which is really fine. I know that in Q3 alone, they introduced Clay Sculptor, they introduced Clay Navigator, audiences, and some other features. So it can be, again, very confusing for new users because you need to learn basics, but also it is important to keep up with all of the new features, new enrichments, new data partnerships, which come to Clay. And this also makes all of this quite difficult, right? However, you can definitely tackle all of those, and I'll explain you how we can get started with Clay later in the video. What we want also to talk about is who should actually master Clay now. And there are a couple of roles which make sense in my opinion. And I will start with the least obvious to the most obvious. Of course, revenue operation leaders, so-called RevOps. It is very important because people have this confusion that Clay is the tool for outbound, for sending personalized emails. While it is one of the use cases, it's not even the main use case really. For RevOps, Clay is really nice because it allows them to build lead engines by leveraging enrichments for different sources of leads, like for example, content, inbound ads, website visitors. So for any RevOps person, Clay, in my opinion, will become more and more important, and it is a solid platform where you can consolidate all of your workbooks and place and run them effectively from one space. Then, of course, sales team. A couple of my clients, for example, they constantly hire new salespeople, SDRs, account executives. And even though Clay might seem to be more of like technical tool, right, and more on like backend, it's still important for salespeople, in my opinion, to know at least the basics of the tool, because it can really help them do a deep research on accounts when it comes to account-based marketing, also decide which segments to go after, see the scale of their total addressable market, how big it is, map out some creative plays, also use enrichments to find work emails, find phone numbers. So I also believe that for sales teams, it will be the inevitable upgrade, let's say, in their skill set, meaning mastering Clay. And the last thing, which is the most obvious, GTM engineers. This position has been developing for the past 3 years thanks to Clay. Really, I would say GTM engineers are a bit similar to revenue operations, but I love to call them pipeline architects because they are doing all of the backend work to generate new revenue, generate pipeline for B2B company, and Clay is a central tool for it. I have not met a single GTM engineer who hasn't been using Clay recently, and GTM engineers in general, I can talk a lot about it, but they will be backbone of any modern revenue team by 2026. If your company isn't hiring for GTM engineer or hasn't hired any GTM engineer this year, I'm really wondering where you guys standing, because GTM engineers are cool, the right ones, not just self-proclaimed gurus, but actual people who know how to build pipeline, how to use the tool called Clay in the best way possible, and how you can pretty much build irresistible offers and deliver them to the right audience. That's, in my opinion, GTM engineer. And also, my predictions for Clay in 2026 is the news are actually great for you, because what I feel like where we are heading is that, first of all, we are going towards more agentic GTM automation, meaning that Clay will be like a full-scale operating system for GTM. It's fully autonomous, as I said. They try to consolidate as many tools and data providers as possible within one specific platform. So it allows you to sync everything in Clay and navigate it through CRM, through ad library, through sequencers like Instantly, SmartLead. So you can actually rely on Clay to act, not just analyze, do research and stuff. Of course, Clay gets more and more interest from enterprises because it has gotten major governance updates. So more and more enterprise teams can use Clay. We already have a couple of great case studies on their website with OpenAI and some other, let's say, giants of the market. However, people who know how to use Clay can definitely break into enterprises, not for just a GTM engineer position, but also some more serious roles. Hence, I'm really encouraging everyone to start learning it. And also what is important is that data will become even more, let's say, moving. So it won't be static as it used to. And with Clay Navigator, for example, which allows you to go on a website and perform specific actions, click on specific buttons, you can run the tables pretty much on autopilot within specific time frames. So for example, every week or every 2 weeks, it will redo the actions and get new data if something comes up. So it won't be as static as it might seem right now. The signal-driven workflows are going to get even more recognition, and it will become a new method for sure. Hence, the accuracy of the outreach and hypothesis which teams are going to make is also much, much higher in upcoming years. It will definitely become better. And so my personal conclusion, it makes sense to learn Clay for sure for anyone who is involved in sales, generating pipeline and revenue for B2B companies, so B2B world is pretty much occupied by clay, which is cool. However, if you're thinking like, okay, Leap, you've told me all of those things, but how do I get started if I want to? It seems so overwhelming. The problem is still not solved. I got you. First of all, you need to master fundamentals. For this purpose, on Clay's website, they have Clay University, where they have a person, his name is Yash, I believe, and he recorded a really huge amount of videos showing different use cases for Clay. He shows you step by step what to do, how to do it. You can get your Clay account and just start experimenting straight away by just implementing all of the things which are talked about in the video. Then, of course, you have to join active communities when you have some more case-specific questions. Clay has a great Slack channel where there are like almost 30,000 people. You can just log in and ask the community the questions and people will help you. You can also hire GTM engineers there or join someone else's GTM team. So it's really great resource to kind of exchange the ideas, learn, ask questions, and also give back when you get better. And of course, YouTube, because it is like more niched content in my opinion, and there are some players which deserve much more recognition, like Eric Nowoslawski from Growth Engine X. Great guy. He shows some really complex workflows, but explains them in such a simple language, which makes it really easy to understand. And also Michael Saruggia, a deep friend of mine, and he also gives a lot of use cases, for example, for local businesses, how you can pretty much build lists without spending any pennies or cents on them. So it's really, really good, and they give you more perspectives, as they are probably most famous Clay power users, which means they get insights and all of the new information quicker than the rest of the market. And of course, in the description or in the pinned comment for this video, I'll leave the link. You can download, you can just use the link, sign up for Clay, and you'll get 3,000 free credits for a trial. You can start, play around, and whenever you have any questions, feel free to text me on LinkedIn or any other platform where I am available. We can talk, and I really love helping people and teaching them how to use this tool. Maybe you want to improve your email copy, or you have questions about deliverability, infrastructure, feel free to ping me and I'll try my best to help you. Anyways, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.